Okay, so let's dive right in. What we're looking at here is a book that's, well, it's dense, it's cryptic, and for a lot of people, it's completely baffling. This is Kenneth Grant's The Ninth Arch, and it's one of the core texts of a very modern and very strange magical tradition. Our job right now is to try and unlock what on earth is going on inside these pages.
It all kicks off with lines just like this one. Pulled from the very heart of the book, this sentence is bizarre, kind of poetic, and comes with absolutely zero context. It's part of a much larger, much stranger text that honestly feels more like a fever dream than a story. And when you read it, you can't help but ask.
These are the two big questions we're going to tackle. We're about to go on a little journey to figure out what this cryptic material actually is, and then trace its truly extraordinary origin story. So let's start with the what.
Right, so at the very core of the Ninth Arch is another text with its own name, the Book of the Spider. And this isn't, Kenneth Grant's commentary or his analysis. This is the raw prophetic stuff that the entire rest of the book is built around.
This text is called OKBISH. It's a series of over 900 short, numbered verses that were supposedly transmitted from some kind of non-human source. That line about the spider? Yeah, that's verse number 40. The rest are just as enigmatic, painting this hallucinatory landscape of strange beings and otherworldly events. So, if Grant didn't write it, who or what did?
To answer that, we have to get into the book's origin story. And this is where things shift from just being a literary curiosity into the world of practical magic and claimed contact with other dimensions.
First, we need just a little bit of context. The Ninth Arch is actually the final volume in this huge series of books that explore what Grant calls the Typhonian Tradition. He described this as a really ancient, primal form of magic, one that deals with the darker, more chaotic parts of consciousness, often symbolized by ancient Egyptian gods like Set Kaifon.
Now here's the key detail. The text of OKBISH wasn't received by just one person sitting alone in a room. It was supposedly communicated to a very specific magical group in London called the New Isis Lodge, which was only active for 7 years, right in the middle of the 20th century. This group, they became the focal point, kind of like the antenna for these strange transmissions.
And what's really fascinating here is that this whole thing wasn't a single event. It was a long, slow, developing process. It supposedly began with these sporadic contacts way back in 1939, just building over decades. The main body of work, the stuff that would become the Book of the Spider, really started coming together around 1952, with most of it being transmitted during those active years of the New Isis Lodge.
So, the crucial point is how this all happened. According to Grant, this was not a case of automatic writing. Nope. Instead, members of the lodge claimed they literally heard the verses spoken out loud by some unseen intelligence during their rituals. Sometimes they even claimed to see things, visual phenomena, that went along with the words. This frames it as an interactive conversation, not just someone taking dictation.
Okay, so we've got a strange text, supposedly transmitted to a magical group. But what is it actually about? What are the ideas in these transmissions? This is where we enter one of the most unique and, frankly, bizarre cosmologies in modern occultism.
The central concept is this thing Grant calls the Mauve Zone. He describes it as this liminal space, an otherworld that exists right on the borderlands of sleep and waking. It's mainly accessible through dreams, and he says it's the source of these communications, a place where you can make contact with non-human and maybe even extraterrestrial intelligences.
Now, to try and explain these wild ideas, Grant didn't just stick to traditional occult language. He created this unique synthesis, pulling from wildly different fields. He blended the magical systems of figures like Aleister Crowley with the aesthetics of surrealist art and, crucially, the cosmic horror of fiction writers like H.P. Lovecraft.
And you can see this blend perfectly in the book's art. On one hand, you'll have a classic Kabbalistic diagram like the Tree of Life, a total cornerstone of Western occultism, and then, right alongside it, you'll see the dreamlike automatic drawings of an artist like Austin Osman Spare. In Grant's universe, these aren't separate things. They're two different maps of the same hidden reality. So when you open the Ninth Arch, you're really stepping into a world built from all of these components. You've got Lovecraft's sense of ancient alien gods sleeping just beyond our reality, combined with Crowley's structured magical formulas, Spare's obsession with subconscious sigils, and a deep focus on dreams and alien contact, all of it wrapped in the symbolism of ancient Egypt. It's a uniquely 20th century creation. Which brings us to our final question. We know what it is, we know where it claims to come from, and we know the ideas it contains. But what is it for?
Why assemble all this strange, cryptic material into a book? To understand its purpose, you have to understand the idea of a grimoire. A grimoire isn't just a book about magic. It's a workbook of magic. It's a technical manual. It's designed for practical use, with instructions for magical operations.
And the Ninth Arch presents itself in exactly this way. It even includes this very stark caution right at the beginning. It warns that it has specialized formula of practical magic and that if you don't know what you're doing, it could be dangerous. This is not a book for casual reading. It's positioned as a powerful and potentially volatile tool.
So what this all comes down to is that the Ninth Arch is intended to be a modern grimoire. Its stated purpose is to provide the theory and the methods for other people to access the Mauve Zone and make their own contact with the forces and entities that supposedly live there. The poetry, the art, the philosophy, it all serves this one practical, magical goal.
And that leaves us right here. The book presents a complete, internally consistent, and incredibly complex magical universe. But where does it all ultimately come from? Is it the product of profound artistic inspiration? A genuine record of contact with another intelligence? Or is it the elaborate, systematized illusion of a small group of people? The book provides its own answer, but the true source remains the central, fascinating mystery of the Ninth Arch.